What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Risky Ryan Trades, where we try to trade and not risk too much, because trading is all about risk management, but you can't get the biscuit unless you risk it. Today we're going to be looking at the S&P 500. We're going to be looking at the Qs, and at the end I'm going to be going over some stocks. What a crazy week we had. This is the weekly view. It goes back to the lows of April. And some things I want to point out. These colorful angles are GAN fans. And you can see that this line right here has served as a point of support throughout this little rally that we've been on, this uptrend. Especially right here, it bounced off of it. Next, I want to point out these Fibonacci lines right here, these golden lines right here. That has been something that we have been trying to close over the top of for some time. Here we got it, but we hit resistance at this retracement level. We finally closed over the retracement level, closed over the Fibonacci line, barely closed over it again after trying to move higher, and this week we closed under it. I'm going to go to the daily now and show you something. So you can see today was a very strange day. We started it off with a big move up. Everyone must have been very excited about the PCE data, and then maybe reality set in about that debate we watched last night, and there was just a plunge. And look at this big red volume bar. This is a big, scary, bearish engulfing pattern. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Scary is all I have to say. This is a warning sign. This is what Nvda did right before it dropped down. And you can see here, back on June 11th and 12th, we had a big gap up. Big gap up over this Fibonacci line. But now this Fibonacci line has been rejected, at least temporarily. And gaps like to fill in. And so you can see this purple line right here. I've actually raised up my stop loss. I'm not comfortable participating in the S&P 500 if it drops below the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trading days. If it drops below that level, my gut tells me that we may be in for a drawdown to fill in the gap. And what makes this even scarier, by the way, this is a very strong support level. Also, you do have the 9-day moving average. So I think it wants to come and touch it, because we have closed underneath the Tenkinson. We've created a bearish engulfing. My gut tells me that we're moving down. My hope is that we enter these lows right here and try to retest. But the chart right now is telling me that we may be coming down to touch this, and you may see a wick come down and fill the gap and then pop back up before coming up. If it moves lower than that, which it could, take a notice. This is about where I think it would happen, unless it just drops down. But like, if it goes down in an orderly fashion, like an uptrend should, it's going to happen on the 3rd. You guys, the stock market is closed on the 4th. So you may see people selling, because they don't want to be unable to trade their positions over the break. So next week, I don't have high hopes for next week. You also see, so this is the Tenkinson. It's closed under it. Oftentimes what it likes to do is drop down to the Kijinsen, which is right down here, and it's right along the GAN fan. Now the good news is that, let me come back a little bit. You do have an area of support right here, as well as this Fibonacci line, the GAN fan, the Tenkinsen. So if I were to get stopped out here, and it were to retrace and start to kind of come down here, I may re-enter and reassess maybe where I would want my stop loss, but I wouldn't want to see it get below this. So I would probably wait and see. I would probably watch to see what it does. Maybe it gains back momentum. It goes through some consolidation right here. And if it were to start pushing strong back above the fan to close this gap perhaps or something, I may re-enter a position. But I moved my stop loss. This number is at 541.39. So that's where I have my stop loss for the S&P 500. Yeah, big red candle, momentum moving down, and if we go to the 4-hour chart, we're in the cloud. Not good. Now my line is right below where the cloud ends, and realistically the cloud is going to be even higher as time passes, and this can serve as a form of support. So I'm hoping that the cloud holds us, and this area, you know, buyers come back in right here. That's what I'm hoping for. However, look at the moving average crossover. It's curling down. It's not in a good spot right now. So not super bullish on the SPY next week. QQQM, this is the ETF that I use, has low fees. We're in the cloud on the 4-hour as well. We're under Tenkinson. However, the Gann fans are, and the Fibonacci fans are in our favor. It's sitting right on it. So I don't want to see it drop below here. And I certainly don't want to see it drop below the fan, because that could create a lot of momentum and drop us lower. Let's go to the weekly real quick. Okay, NASDAQ closed green today, or this week. But it closed lower than last week opened. This Gann fan has, so like this one, let's see here. This red one has been pretty supportive up until now, and now we're sitting on this one. This one has to hold, otherwise we're coming down. Actually, well here, let's go to the daily. So, okay, you guys, that is ugly as a candle gets. That is ugly as a candle gets. The only good news I have is that we created a higher high, but barely. This is a double top and a huge rejection. And we're sitting right on this Gann fan. Actually, is this a... Are those my Fibonacci? That might be a Fibonacci. One sec. Let's. Oh, so okay. So this is a Fibonacci line and a Gann fan. So this line has got to hold up. I've moved my stop loss to 149.90 because I don't want to participate in this gap fill here. But if you want to, you know, it wouldn't be unwise to set it like right here, because like tomorrow, if it closes below the Gann fan and we get down here, we're coming down to this next level, maybe even to the next Fibonacci. So yeah, this is an ugly candle. You might be considering taking profits right here, reducing your position and waiting and seeing. That would be a prudent thing to do. Let's go to the 4-hour once again. Oh yeah, look at the big red candle. Yeah, it was a bad day today in the markets. It really was. We had some really good days, but this one put an end to the party, that's for sure. 4-hour, right? So cloud, and then I got my stop loss right here, and that stop loss sits right below this area of support and resistance. So if this doesn't hold up, you know, it's hard to say where the next level of support is. There's multiple angles, but if the S&P 500 goes along with the Nasdaq and they both plummet, the S&P has a lot less support. So you could see some of these levels break. I may have to take a closer look at this midweek, and we'll check in. Probably for 4th of July will be my next video. So during that one-day break, we'll kind of reassess where we're at. Okay, these are S&P QQQ. Let's go to Nvda. Okay, let's go to the daily. So we have this GAN fan is holding up. We're below Tenkan-sen, and we've been below Tenkan-sen. The fan served as support, though, in the past. So keep an eye. Key levels are going to be right around, probably 120. 120 has got to hold next week, essentially. Otherwise, we could be coming down here, which would close this this gap that we had here. Bearish engulfing of a previous bearish candle. MACD doesn't look good. It doesn't look good, you guys. There's resistance above. I think my kind of prediction is we're going to be bouncing between like this 118 to 125 level for some time until we can reestablish an uptrend. As time passes, if this GAN holds up, hopefully we can get over this 127, which is a Fibonacci level here. Notice how that's a key level. So like, oh, can't get above it, can't go below it. Then close below it, look out below. Can't cross above it, boom. So like, I want to see a candle close above 127. Like, if you aren't in a position right now, I wouldn't be trying to call the bottom. I would be waiting for it to confirm and have some like uptrend momentum that confirms over 127 and manage your risk from there. Because trying to call bottom on this right now in this move is about as hard as it is trying to call top on Nvidia. Let's just take a look at the weekly real quick. Yeah, I don't love that. Don't love it. The only thing I like is that the GAN fan held up. All right, let's look at Amazon. Amazon had a rough one today. Really good week, rough one today. So on the weekly, we can see that we are big green candle. But you can see here, it's kind of almost created a doji. Big wick down, big wick up, even bigger wick up, push down. But we did close above this previous high of 192.17. Next price target is 221.96. That is like the level that this uptrend wants to go to. What makes the most sense? I mean, if we can get some upward momentum, if the markets are better, next week, but I would be expecting probably this area, probably this area at the most. I mean, by end of year. So my end of year target for, December 16th, 222 end of year target. Let's do a little math. So let's say that you bought tomorrow at 193, or here, 221.96 divided by 193.25. That's 15% in 6 months. Pretty good. Pretty good return for something like Amazon that's not like a penny stock or anything. Of course, I'd love to see us just blast to it, but realistically, I think what happened here is I'm not ready to call it a false breakout yet. Let's take a look at the daily. Big bad bearish engulfing. Hate to see it. You absolutely hate to see it. You want to see this level hold. You really want to see this fan level hold, and you might see it dip down, touch Tenkinson, and then move up, maybe break down, and then move up. So the big move on Amzn, I think, is over in the short term. If we're lucky, we might see this hold and come back up. That would be really cool. But bearish engulfing, that's never a good thing. Yeah, this Fibonacci is holding up. I'm just going to draw a Gann fan real quick just to see if... I think I was having some trouble with this last time. Okay, so wait, this is the Fibonacci. See if we have any confluence here. We do. So this line is a Fibonacci and a Gann fan. I would definitely want to see this hold. Otherwise, you know, maybe your support zone is going to be between these two, and it pops back up potentially. Okay, let's keep moving on. Actually, let's take a look at the 4 hour, because this was pretty brutal to watch. Look at this. We touched Tenkinson, closed above the fans. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. I like to see that. So there's hope for Amzn continuing on this trend. I mean, on the 4 hour, we're getting a bit of a crossover, a curl over, but I really do want to see this level hold. And it's got, you know, there might be a wick down that touches. So like if you see a big red candle midday, I would wait. Maybe it wants to touch this and bounce back up over the fan. But we want to see candles closing over the fan on these 4 hours. I'm going to go more granular just because this is one of my bigger holdings. I like to have about a 10% of my portfolio exposure. Yeah, we're sitting right on it. But that tells me it's support. See how it's kind of, the price is curling. I don't see this curling yet, but the price is curling. We don't want to get into the cloud. So we could see a retracement up to 195, but we do have some overhead resistance now. RSI is in the bucket, so maybe it's a little oversold. So I don't think it would hurt to have kind of a tighter stop loss, maybe like 192, something like that, because then the RSI would really be dumping. Might not be a terrible entry for Amzn. Might not be terrible. It's sitting on a lot of support. You got the cloud that's usually supportive, and you know, you could risk $2 to potentially have, you know, come up to here. That would be $3, $4. So yeah, risk reward on this isn't so bad. I started investing at 177. My shares currently, because I trade in and out of them, are like right basically where it is, like 193. Managed to like pick some up right here in this wick, and it just kind of held steady right there. I noticed that there was a lot of consolidation right here before it moved up. And I think what happened is it got overheated. Like, look at this RSI. It was just not letting up. And then people were like, okay, it's not going up anymore. So that means it's going down. They sold. And then more people sold. Then it got below this. More people sold. Oh, my God. But now we're back to here. And it got here for a reason. So hopefully this holds up. Let's look at... I'm going to look at some... We'll look at Rolls-Royce. Terry, shout out to Terry. He's been telling me to invest in Rolls-Royce, and I've been telling him not yet. I actually did catch a good amount of it. Like, he gave me a tip right in November, which was perfect timing. Like, he probably could have told me any stock at that time, and that's when like the bottom hit for the S&P 500. and it's just been on a tear. But yeah, I mean, I think I got out like, I want to say like over here somewhere. So I had a pretty good run, and it's still running. It's still in up. Oh, is it still in an uptrend? Trouble in Paradise for Rolls-Royce. One sec. Okay. So this Fibonacci line, hold on, let's do this. It's done a pretty good job of holding everything up. You've had a couple candles dip below and then, you know, freak you out, and then it holds above. But usually, yeah, so it broke above it, gapped above it, hit this line, came down, that line held, and it failed to get back up. And now we're retesting to see if this line is any good. We're also below Tenkan-sen, which is not good. You know, if you saw, like in this candle right here, this was your signal. I mean, you never know if it's just going to pop back up, but when it comes down like a significant amount, and maybe past like this candle right here, when it got below that, you could have pretty much known like, oh, this thing is going to close below Tenkan-sen, and gotten out. And it's finding support on the 9-day moving average, and it's closed just a little bit below Kijun-sen. It's got some support here. Sorry, Terry, this is not a buy for me yet, just because it's, you know, like a buy for me would have been right here. So if I would have saw, oh, it's closing over, I would have bought, and then the next day it gapped up. I probably wouldn't have sold, and then I would have probably stopped out for, you know, a small loss or something like that. Ichimoku's not perfect, but you could see like another buy point. You know, you could have bought here, it closed above Tenkan-sen, and then you could have rode this until, you know, it went here, and that would have netted you, oh fuck, that would have netted you, good lord, sorry guys. Okay, so let's say that you bought inside of this candle, and then you got out right here. You would have got 4.8% in a month. 4.8% in a month is 57% a year. That's insane gains. Oh yeah, and we also have the MACD moving down. Things aren't looking perfect for Rolls-Royce right now. Let's go to the weekly though. The weekly is going to tell you, like, if you've been in this a long time, so of course we would love to see these Fibonacci lines hold up. However, it is still above Tenkan-sen on the weekly. And maybe that might be where I would look to potentially get in, because you can see right here, we hit a top and then it flipped to support. There was a move up. Now it's coming, it looks like it's coming back down to test support and the Tenkan-sen. So if it comes down, touches Tenkan-sen, starts to move up again, and then we confirm on the daily, like it gets above Tenkan-sen on the daily, and everything is in order, that's when I would initiate a buy. And you'd probably at the same time see the MACD starting to turn over as well. So those are the things that I'm looking for. Uber. Let's look at, sorry, I'm screaming into the mic. Uber had a day today. Actually did good. It was getting out of the cloud. Look at that. Well, it tried to get out of the cloud. It tried to get over this 50% Fibonacci line that it just has not been able to get over forever and ever and ever. However, we did pretty much confirm support at this $70 level. We scooped out a low. I want to see another good day, but it is above Tenkan-sen. It is almost above the cloud. Let's see if the cloud's turning over. Cloud just became good. Chiku span is overpriced. So the only thing missing here is it's not out of the cloud yet. And it's so close. It did it did close over my Fibonacci level. So I like that. I like Uber. I think it'll be around for a long time. Look at this big green candle. So we were starting to curl over on the MACD, and now, so keep an eye on Uber. It's got some momentum. If it can close, over this candle here, or it looks like it's gonna almost certainly close over, because look at how the cloud is actually coming down. Like if it looks strong tomorrow, that would be a buy signal for the Ichimoku. All right, let's look at Apple. Closed below Tenkan-sen on the daily. We're in a range. Let me just draw a box. We're in a range right now. Now this one, the next level for it is 243.61. It's sitting right smack dab in the middle of some Fibonacci fans. I'll probably have to do some Gann fans on this to see where support is going to be. Let's take a look at the weekly. So yeah, we're just in a range, and the range is sinking. So I'm still bullish Apple. I think it's going to perform well the second half of this year. You have the MACD, and it looks good. You have this big volume candle here, another pretty big volume candle. Volume's starting to slope down. Not really sure what to say about Apple. I don't know if this is really, well, it's technically not a buy according to Ichimoku. I don't really think it's going to drop all the way down to here, though. I think we're going to just trade in a range until these indicators catch up, provide support, and then we push up to the next level. So if you don't have a position in Apple right now, I would probably just be waiting for these indicators to catch up. And you might even be considering reducing position, because we do have a bearish engulfing and engulfed this good candle right here. We might be coming back down to the bottom of this range to retest 205. Stock market not looking good. Not looking good going into next week. Not at all. One stock that was looking good today was Intuit. And Intuit is looking to fill the gap. It's actually already filled the gap. Good for you, Intuit. Now, this is very strong. We had the volume actually went up. Can we get to 700? 700 is probably my price target. I would probably, if we can get over that, I would probably remove my position. Potentially. I'll have to look at this, because ultimately it wants to get to like 913. And Intuit is like one of those companies that I like as a long-term investor. I just think that it's not gonna go through all this. Well, it did consolidate, hammered a base out. We'll have to get around to it, but right now it is breakneck speed, shooting for this $700 level with a ton of momentum behind it. It's very far extended off the Tenkan-sen, but it just busted out of the cloud on the daily, and it kept moving up. So this thing is a freight train. Catch it if you can. Where would I be putting a stop loss if I entered right here? Well, first off, I don't think I would be entering right here and be looking at the daily, because it's moving too fast. 15-minute is probably too granular. Yeah, it's too granular. That's too granular. The 1 hour is a little bit better. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. Okay, so Oh, what's this? Is that accurate? Sometimes scale gets weird with the scale. Yeah, no, that line was inaccurate. Yeah, 4 hour. Do I have a 2 hour chart? Hard to say which one to follow. I mean, this 2 hour chart or a 4 hour chart probably isn't too bad. I would keep an closer eye on it, because the problem is when you have these stocks that have a ton of momentum going, once it's over really fast. It happens very quickly. And if you're just looking at the daily and you're trying to say, well, as long as it's above Tenkan-sen, I mean, the distance between where it is today and if it just drops straight to Tenkan-sen, that's a 5% drawdown. However, this line right here, the 623, it's a pretty good stop loss line. I mean, that's where it gapped down to, and then it beat it, and it beat it hard, and it blasted through the cloud. Like, it is done with this level, in my opinion. So if you were to see it close below some like indicators below this, you know, we get into the cloud or whatever, then you know to abandon ship. So, you know, 5% loss is about my max, what I can stomach on a move. So, you know, if you see it kind of do a little flag, come down a little bit to 650 or something like that, which I don't think you'll get a chance to, it might be a good entry, and you know, you just set your stop loss here. Like, I don't want to see it drop to the bottom of this consolidation, because then we're dropping back down to here. But I don't think we're looking back on this one. So bullish into it. Might consider moving around some funds next week if everything's dropping, but this one and Uber are still strong. Might allocate a little bit to that to try to hedge against potential volatility in the stock market. What else was looking good? Nflx is really mixed. Just doesn't want to, like, basically to break this level, it needs a lot of momentum, and it's just kind of getting squeezed up there. It might need to consolidate in a range for a while and then eventually break out. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some sideways action, or it could just collapse back down into these trading levels. Or this looks like a pretty key support level here. 650, yeah, 650 to 657. You do have Tenkan-sen and Kijun-sen there. It did close below Tenkan-sen though on the daily, which we don't like. So keep a close eye on this one if you have a trade-in. I don't know. I have a trade-in. I'm not going to be reducing my position in this because it's not that far below. But maybe if you see, you know, if you're a daily trader and you see it get below 672 tomorrow or Monday, we could be coming down to 658. Which, hey, the price was there a couple weeks ago. Not a big deal. Sometimes you need more consolidation before you can bust up to this. This is what's crazy, though. The move that's coming, you guys, the move that's coming on Nflx. I mean, the problem is we already had this crazy move. Like, let's look at, so it just dumped and it's worked its way all the way up. And when it breaks this level, the next level is 1,000. So it's trying to be $1,000 stock after that point. So, I mean, if you have patience, if you can wait 3 years, I mean, think about it. What kind of returns are you trying to get? 101.667 divided by 700. That's a 45% return. I mean, if that takes you 3 years, oh my God, 45 divided by 3, there we go. Oh my goodness, 45 divided by 3. Okay, so yeah, so it's a 15% annualized return. The S&P 500 averages 10% a year. The Nasdaq averages about 15% a year. So if this takes 3 years, you'll get Nasdaq-like returns. And I don't think it's going to take 3 years. We're still in this bull cycle. Like, look what the world has gone through. We had the COVID crash, and then we had, everybody knows what happened in 2022. So we're due for some gains. We've had consolidation in this range since 2017. So we're due for an explosive move, and I'm here for it. So I've got about a 4% allocation to Nflx in my portfolio. It's a little higher than what the S&P and the Nasdaq weighted as, but I think it deserves the weighting. Nflx is not going anywhere, especially after that whole cuties thing, and they still survived it. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's look at CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike had some interesting price action the last few days. This gap sure does freak me out, but I guess it's not a whole much of a gap because we had this touch. I'm gonna clear this entire drawing set because this is getting a little bit crazy here. Because I just want to see what the heck we're working with here. So let's do Fibonacci's first. Okay. So that makes sense. So yeah, it just gapped up and it closed above it. So 420 is the target now. I'm gonna do one of these guys as well. Hang on. Probably like right there. Yeah, 420 is the target. 420 is the target. Let's see here if I can. Now, the one study, like, I need better studies that tell me timing now, because I can tell like where the resistance line will be, where we're trying to get to, and where support is. If this stock breaks below 360, we're in trouble. We're coming down into this area, potentially lower. We are super far extended off of Tengensen though. I would not be surprised if we trade in a range for a little while. It's almost never this far above, but let's take a look at the daily. Okay. Let's do some GAN fans here. I just want to see if I can find any. Let's do a Fibonacci angle. Okay. Okay, so we had support here. It broke down, and it's trying to get back over, but it keeps getting pushed down, pushed down. We did close ugly today, but over Tenkensen, so we're safe for now. I'm predicting just some sideways action like this, and it does look like it's, kind of moving up. The weekly MACD is very favorable. We got a crossover back here, and things have been good overall on the weekly. The daily, it's curling over a little bit, so we may lose a little bit of momentum. I'm looking for this 380 to hold. That's a pretty strong... 380 is a pretty strong level. Let's take a look. Let's do a Fibonacci between these two and see if 380... There you go. 378. Yep, 378. So this is obeying the Fibonacci's very strongly. You can see it. You can see it. So once we hit 420, 450, and then 500 is the next big one. Funny how it works out just perfectly like that. And this is a stock that is darling of Wall Street. It is prone to having some pretty wild rides. Overall, I like this. It held this line right here, 379. So, you know, that's a pretty low risk. We're at a low risk entry right now. It's only a 1%. It's only 1% away from its support. And if it were to get back up here, that's 3%. I'm glad I got a good position in CrowdStrike. I'm already probably a little overweight on CrowdStrike, so I'm not going to be adding. But potentially I might be adding if other stocks are getting, you know, obliterated next week and this one is holding up. CrowdStrike. Strong. Okay. Microsoft. What happened today? But we're sitting right on this line. Oh, God, what do you do? Probably just hold on for dear life. Now, Microsoft runs this frickin' market, okay? Like, it's a big, big weighting in the S&P 500, NASDAQ. Where Microsoft goes, the market goes. So I love looking at Microsoft to tell me, you know, is the trend alive? Is the trend dead? And I actually kind of like what I see here because it did close above this line right here. If Microsoft can retake Tenkan-sen, market might be safe. It's holding this line here, and I like that. But I would not be surprised next week if we come down, we touch the moving average. Sometimes, you know, like these waves, they like to come down and come close to the highs of the previous wave. So, you know, and it's curling over. I'm a bit nervous just because of that break. Like, the big bad day for Nvda when it bearish engulfed was after Juneteenth when the markets were closed, and now we get another one of those next week. So yeah, I'm pretty nervous about, but who knows? We could have like a total reversal. Like, what if we have a crazy sell-off, you know, or like the market opens super low on the 5th of July and it just rallies and we come back up. So there might be a bit of a hold on for dear life aspect of next week. Just be prepared for volatility. Honestly, maybe let's take a look at the VIX. Buying calls in the VIX might not be a bad idea. We're pretty close to this 12 here. And, I mean, hold on, let's go to the weekly. So the VIX measures volatility in the market, and if you expect one of the days tomorrow to be volatile, oh my gosh. If you expect it to be volatile and for it to pop, now the good news is the cloud has been descending on it, but it likes to get all the way up to the cloud, you know. But yeah, I mean, if you expect like next week to go boom, 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 boom for a short period of time, you could buy some options. People do that to hedge their portfolios. I might actually be looking into doing that because for no good reason at all, volatility is all the way down here. So you could almost, you know, potentially buy some like 16s for cheap and see this thing pump up to 20. I'm just throwing ideas out there. By the way, disclaimer, if you follow my advice and you lose all your money, you can't sue me. Trading is risky. I am simply sharing my thoughts, and if you want to follow me, that is your free will. But yeah, I might be looking at buying some options in the VIX next week because we might have hit a bottom here. This is a reversal candle. Might see it come up to 14 or so. I'm going to write that down. VIX contracts. And weeklies are pretty cheap. They don't cost a lot, so yeah, might be looking into that. All right, let's, where are we at? 45 minutes? All right, if you're still with me, thank you so much. You probably like my content if you're this far. You might notice I have like no subscribers. Maybe you could be the first one. So go ahead, hit subscribe, give me a like, leave me a comment if you want me to take a look at a stock for you. Costco, the beast, is sitting on the line. Oh man, stock market has me nervous. So what we were doing here is we got above this Fibonacci line, confirmed support, hit a top, and then been fighting to get over Tenkan-sen. We failed, but we're kind of just in a holding pattern between these two things. Let's take a look at the weekly. This might be a take profit zone. Fuck. I might be putting a stop loss right here for my Costco shares, or at least reducing position if it hits here, because we may be coming back down to, oh man, yeah, we might be coming down to retest this Gann fan. And this 792 level. There's confluence right there. You may see it dump to touch the Tenkan-sen on the weekly before moving up again. So I'll be having to keep a close eye on Costco. I'm actually going to draw a price level right now. Like if it closes under this on the weekly, I'm going to put a text here. Yeah, pretty much if it gets if it gets into the text on there, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I got to take profit on this thing. Which is too bad. I love Costco. This chart is always amazing, but you know, sometimes you got to protect your positions when it's obvious that you should, you know, even if it's just like, okay, it drops $2 below where I stopped out at, and you just hop back in, you know, like if you squeeze out 1%, 2% every year, like that adds up. Okay, so this is a weekly line. I do not want to see it get into there. It'd be bad news bears, because then we're coming down to there, and I don't want to participate in that, because a move from, let's just take a look at what I could be saving myself. So if I stop out here and we hit here, that's 5%, and then I hop back in, that's an extra 5% I wouldn't have gotten. So it's almost like a 10% swing if you can get this stuff right. I mean, you save yourself the time and loss, and then you hop back in, and then when it does its thing, you know, you got this move, and then you got that move. Like you got it twice. So Eli Lilly was strong. Let's cruise through these last few here. Eli Lilly is cruising to this level here. I might be looking to take profit here if it starts to turn over. And I think psychologically it wants to hit 1,000. So I like what I see on the Eli Lilly chart. Love what I see on the... So Eli Lilly doesn't give a damn about the overall market. It's doing its own thing. How much more do we have room to run? 6%? Yeah, I love that. And I got in like right here. So, I mean, yeah, if we can hit... What is my cost basis on Eli? I think it's like right here. 12% in a month. Yeah, I would just sell my shares. Cool. Okay, let's keep moving. Eli Lilly, strong. You know, like if you got a stock that's just bleeding out next week, put it in this thing and looking for that 950, 1000 level might work out for you. Okay. SMH. Somehow this thing closed green even though Nvidia was struggling. And it's kind of in a holding pattern between Kijisen and Tenkan-sen. It's not even close to the 9 and this support level here. So I think you're just going to see a consolidation and then a move up. That's what I'm hoping for on SMH. Visa, Visa got wrecked. Look how ugly this is. I think it started to turn over here, and I sold pretty much all my shares, and yesterday it was, and yeah, good decision. Yeah, when this failed, and it failed that quickly, I had to bounce out of that, especially it broke this, or it went straight down to it. Yeah, no, ugly chart. I don't know where Visa goes next. I mean, this is probably, 260, and is there any, yeah, so there's a big consolidation zone right here. So maybe re-entering my position. Visa might not be a bad defensive play, if there is volatility next week. If it, it's going to land somewhere in the, you would want to see it hold up over this fan. So like, call it 260, 258, right in this area right here. Actually, I wonder, here, I'm going to draw one of these guys right here. So this is the zone of support that you want to see hold up. Like this is where, like if it wicks down into this, holds steady, and maybe confirms up above this line, you might be safe, and then you set your stop loss below there. So, okay. Shark Ninja. Why do you do this to me, Shark Ninja? Oh my god, that is a sell signal. Oh, look at that red candle. Oh no, yeah, you gotta get out. Fuck. Yeah, let's look at the weekly. The weekly doesn't even have an Ichimoku. Shoot. Oh, that's the monthly. Hang on. Do we have an Ichimoku on this? No. Well, here, let's take a look at Bollinger Bands. No. The problem with this stock is that... Oh, there we go. Okay, so it is sitting on the moving average. Okay, that gives me a little bit more comfort, but man, that is an ugly candle. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this one. I'm gonna have to think about this, because it is sitting there. I mean, if it closes below, let's look at the daily again with this. Yeah, dude, that's bad. That is bad. Let's go to the Ichimoku one more time here. So the cloud, so there's going to be some support at 72. Yeah, if it looks weak in the morning on Monday, I'm probably just going to cut the cord and look for a better entry, probably around the 72 level. That is disappointing because I love me some Shark Ninja. Yeah, this Fibonacci fan didn't hold up. Really disappointing. Yeah, we're coming down. 75 has to hold. I'll probably put a 74.85 or something like that, and then if it stops me out, I'm going to be looking to re-enter at a lower price. Shark Ninja, why you do this to me? Am I missing anything? RDGL. RDGL has tons of support at 18 cents. Okay. A lot of support at 18 cents. And how much of a drop would that be? Hang on. Is this a buy yet? Hold on. Oh, man, that would be a big drop. Okay, so RDGL, what is RDGL? Shout out Uncle Mike. This is I believe a medical stock. Basically, someone I know knows a guy. They're going through clinical trials and things are going well. And if you look at the chart, this penny stock has legs, and it's moving in a fairly like respectable fashion. You know, it's not just like this crazy thing. So, and the next level, so it failed to break out here. It came all the way down to the 50% mark, closed above. Yeah, this thing's a buy for me. I might be looking to begin a position here. I believe I'll be entering a position here. So, not a full position though. I'll probably enter a quarter of a position or something like that, and then wait for it to get into a proper uptrend like we saw back here. Because this is what you want. You know, you get under here and then all of a sudden, boom. It gets under, gets back over, everything confirms, Crwd looks good, Tengen-sen gets over Kijun-sen, and you get a pop. So I might be front running this a little bit, but it looks really strong. It looks like it's holding this 20 cent level, which it's only like a 2% drop. Stocks like this, you almost got to be kind of aggressive, but yeah, I like what I see here. I like that even though we got this red candle and everything, it looks like it was like trying to find out where it's supposed to go. And, you know, if you can, and it's a penny stock, so it's like, once it moves to the next level, it just like goes way up there. So, yeah, I like what I see. It's not even that, probably not even that far from here, like a 10% drop, but like when we're talking like, oh shit, when we're talking a move that could be 18% to 45%, risking 10%, you know, it makes more sense. Let's look at the 4 hour, because this has to be a wild freaking ride. Wow. Okay. So timing my entry is going to be critical here. I love that it held support right here. I don't love that it's below Kijun-sen in the 9-day or the 9 period. I'll have to be thinking about how I want to enter this, and I have been I mean, I saw it pop up, it hit this line right here, it rejected, came all the way down to the 50% level. That would have been a really great entry. This isn't a bad entry either, because it doesn't want to be there, really. Let's look at it, the hourly. It's under the Crwd on the hourly, don't love that, but I like the low price that I'm paying. And it's held this position pretty well. I'm going to watch it. If it can kind of give me something a little bit more solid than this, because we do have lower highs. This was a higher low. If I get an opportunity to buy it at 50%, I think I do. Yeah, I think I made up my mind. If I can get it right in here. Actually, I would take like right here. If I can buy it in there, that's my buy zone. May not get an opportunity to buy it there, because this fan seems to be holding up pretty steady. We'll be watching for that. I'm going to set an alert. Actually, I'm going to set this up a little bit higher so I don't miss it. Cool. This one's almost ready for me to buy. VGT technology. All right, this is the bonus one. We're up to an hour. You guys are committed if you're still watching. Love you. All right, let's go. Weekly. It's holding. The retest was a success. Look at that. A thing of beauty. A thing of beauty, you guys. Okay, so what I say, Uber, CrowdStrike, and, well, yeah, CrowdStrike is kind of just in a box, but Uber, what was the other one? Intuit. Okay, so those are, sorry, I'm bringing those up because those are stocks that are in this ETF that are heavily weighted. If there's a lot of inflows going into this ETF, then that means there's money going into those stocks. And if those stocks are doing really good, people want to buy the ETF, and it kind of, you know, just does that. So I want to look at CRM to see how it did today. It did really good. Let's take a look at ServiceNow. These are members of, okay. I see. Technology stocks are looking decent. They're looking a little safer than some of the other ones. Most of my stocks are technology, by the way. But let's actually take a look and see. Let's see what their top holdings are. So you got the usual suspects. You got Microsoft, Apple, Nvda, Broadcom, AMD, Qualcomm, and then you get to the other ones. So Salesforce, Adobe, Oracle, Cisco. Let's take a look at those. Green. Oracle. Green. Cisco? Green. Let's go to Zacks real quick. All right, I'm going to cut this off right here. If you want to see me dive into like the VGT ETF, that'll be on the next video. Thank you so much. Hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you later.